The American Heart Association defines trans fat as a type of fat that is created through an industrial process that adds hydrogen to liquid vegetable oils to make them more solid and last longer. I'm not sure if that's something that sounds super appetizing to anybody in this room, but many Americans need to be more informed on the fact that these are found in many foods that you eat on a regular basis, such as French fries and donuts. Too much fried food is way too available to many college students, and college is also when we should become more conscious of our diet, because I think many of us realize it's a lot easier to gain weight in college. As a lover of many unhealthy foods like donuts and French fries, but someone who is conscious of my diet, I have done a lot of research on this and I'm very passionate about this topic. So today I'm going to talk to you about why fried food is bad for you, why there should be a warning label included on packages of fried food and fried food that you buy at restaurants, and what this warning label will look like. So why is fried food so bad for you? Cardiovascular disease is the most common cause of death in the United States, and it is increased by overconsumption of fried food. In fact, the American Heart Association's journal, the circulation, says that just one serving of fried fish a week was found to increase risk of heart failure by 48%. Cardiovascular disease, cancer, atherosclerosis, which is hardening of the arteries, and diabetes are all effects of overconsumption of fried food. Not only this, but fried food is full of empty calories. This means that if you were to eat one serving of fried food versus one serving of something that was rich in nutrients like a vegetable or a fruit, the fried food is not going to keep you as full for as long, and you're going to have to eat a lot more of that before your body is as satisfied as with something healthier. Through my research, I found that 6 ounces of a KFC crispy chicken breast contained 29 grams of fat, while 6 ounces of a chicken breast that you boiled at home contained only 6 grams of fat. That's a 23-gram difference in the amount of fat for just one item of food. So where does all of this fat come from? Frying food raises its levels of trans fat. Now, trans fat is from the vegetable oil that the fried food is cooked in, and it also raises your levels, or it increases your risks for atherosclerosis, plaque in the arteries, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and even cancer, as shared by health journalist Ruben Chow in Natural News. So measures need to be taken to make sure that Americans know the risks of what they're putting into their bodies, and I think that a warning label on fried food is just the way to do it. Now, many people argue that they choose to buy unhealthy food over healthy food because healthy food is just way too expensive. And for most part, this is true. A study included in a Huffington Post article by food journalist Carrie Polis shows that eating healthy will cost the consumer on average about $550 per year. But while healthy eating costs more per year, it is, in the short term, Dr. Dariush Mazarfarin, the same study's senior author and associate professor at Harvard School of Public Health and Harvard Medical School, says that the price difference in eating healthy and unhealthy is small in comparison to the cost of diet-related chronic diseases, which are decreased by a healthy diet. So paying $550 to eat healthier every single year, or paying 2.3 times as much, or I'm not sure what that would be yet, or paying a lot more for how much you're going to eat, or getting a chronic disease. One of these diseases is type 2 diabetes, and the American Diabetes Association informs consumers that people with diabetes have to pay approximately 2.3 times more for health care than someone without diabetes. Now, I don't know which is going to be worse for you, $550 or 2.3 times more for health care, but we are struggling with a lot of health care issues in America already, and I'm assuming that it will be a lot cheaper just to eat healthier. Another argument is that we need fat in our diet. American food journalist Mark Bittman of the New York Times said we have a misguided notion that the less fat you eat, the better, and we really just need to eat fat in moderation. While this is true, many fried foods that are made with vegetable oil contain saturated fat and trans fat, which is not the kind of fat we need to be eating in moderation. Healthier alternatives to cook with would include olive oil or coconut oil that Americans are welcome to cook with at home, and would greatly decrease the amounts of these bad fats that are in your food. These fats include, the fats found in olive oil and coconut oil include omega-3 and omega-6, which your body requires in balance. But Chris Gunner's CEO and founder of Authority Nutrition says that the average American consumes 4 times the amount of those two supplements than we need. So Americans are not consuming fried food in moderation. We are consuming it in overconsumption. The last argument is that many Americans say that they just don't pay attention to the nutrition charts, so putting a warning label isn't going to change their opinions. Well, the Food and Drug Association states they've been working very hard since 2013 to propose a new law regulation that puts the warning labels on the front of packages and in bigger print so that consumers are more likely to look at them. Congress began requiring cigarette companies to include a health warning label on their packages in 1965, and a study done by the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention indicated that in 50 years since a health warning was first issued, adult smokers decreased by 24%. I would hope that the same results would come from putting a warning label on fried food, but we're not going to know unless we try. Labels are currently small, and not a lot of people pay attention to them, and may not know exactly what many of the things included on them mean. So, I have created a new nutrition facts chart that contains 3 simple changes that would help the average American be more educated on what they're about to put in their bodies. There are 4 types of fat that are always included on a nutrition facts chart, and that's saturated, trans, polyunsaturated, and monounsaturated. The 2 that I highlighted in blue are saturated and trans fat, and these are known as the bad fats. They are known for clogging your arteries and giving you stuff like cardiovascular disease and other chronic diseases. Highlighting these would give Americans a better education on what they should be staying away from in their diet. The second change would be putting the daily intake percentage in parentheses next to the type of bad fats that we're consuming. And if we included what we're supposed to be taking in on a daily basis, and the consumer could look to the right and see what this one food is putting in their body in comparison to what they're supposed to be eating for the whole day, might change their mind about what they're about to eat. The last change is putting a warning on the very bottom of the nutrition chart that just states what kind of chronic diseases you're at risk for by consuming this kind of food. And this often happens because a person could be at risk for cardiovascular disease because it's been running in their family for a long time and not even know that by eating this fried food you're put at an even higher risk for getting cardiovascular disease. I think that these 3 changes are very simple, and I don't see why we wouldn't start including these on our nutrition charts because they're so simple and it could help Americans decrease obesity levels and diseases that we're struggling with every year. Should we really take pride in being the world's fattest nation, and is this really the way that we want our children to be grown? It's really the way we want to raise our children. The introduction of warning labels on fried food would hopefully decrease the amounts of chronic diseases people are dying from every year and the obesity levels that America is struggling with right now. Today I talked to you about how fried food is bad for you, why a warning label should be in place, and what that warning label should look like. And I hope that after hearing this speech, you'll band together and talk to your local legislators and fight for this cause.